Ironically, at the same time Dr. Fermi was saying that, UAP were swarming around Los Alamos and New Mexico like moths around a candle. This is an example 2 months before he made that famous comment. In Farmington, New Mexico, hundreds of UAP were seen in broad daylight. These are some of the newspaper headlines that occurred at that time. Huge saucer armada jolts Farmington, invaded by saucer squadron. Incredible amounts of UAP activity in New Mexico. At the same time, Dr. Fermi is asking, where is everybody? Not only that, but there was so much activity around Los Alamos itself that the director of security of Los Alamos, this is a picture of a memo that came to light from the director of security of Los Alamos to the Air Force head of special investigations. And it says the following. This was just a few months before Enrico Fermi made his famous comment. Quote, the frequency of unexplained aerial phenomenon in the New Mexico area is such that an organized plan of reporting these observations should be undertaken. The observers of these phenomenon include scientists, special agents of the Office of Special Investigation, U.S. Air Force and airline pilots, military pilots, Los Alamos security inspectors, military personnel, and many other persons of various occupations whose reliability is not questioned. The phenomenon has continuously occurred during the last 18 months and is continuing to occur in the vicinity of sensitive installations. So my question would be also, where is everybody? But not directed at aliens, where is the scientific community? Where are the journalists? Where are the mainstream people who ought to be reacting to this stunning information? Why aren't they engaging? Why aren't they paying attention?
That's okay.
So
Yes.
we have, that is a thin slice of the data. Now, in that context of Los Alamos and what was going on there, let's explore that a little further and think about that, what they were seeing and how it fits into a larger picture. So Los Alamos was the home of the U.S. nuclear weapons program, and it was in close proximity to the location of the first U.S. nuclear weapons test. So my suggestion would be, if other civilizations were visiting this planet, either because they were just observing it, they were conducting experiments, there were resources they wanted, it was a useful transit point for whatever reason, what would be more likely to attract attention or be of interest than exploding a nuclear weapon, right? If you wanted to get somebody's attention, what better way to do it than start exploding nuclear weapons? If we ever get to another planet that has a existing population, the first question is going to be safety and danger. We're going to want to protect our people, and we're going to know and understand what the threats in that environment might be. Well, lo and behold, we start conducting nuclear weapons tests, and this incredible amount of UAP activity starts happening. Not only that, but let's think about what they were observing. So the famous author and scientist Arthur C. Clarke made the point that any sufficiently advanced technology looks like magic. And you can imagine if a cell phone falls into the hands of a tribe in the Amazon that's had no prior contact with West, they started seeing the capabilities and the functionality, it would be incomprehensible. How does that thing work? It would look like magic. Well, sure enough, the things that we were observing, the behavior and performance of these vehicles was incomprehensible. They were doing things that we have no idea how to emulate ourselves. The kinds of acceleration that was being performed, the speeds they were attaining, the ability to hover and then instantly accelerate to hypersonic speeds and shoot off up into space. We would expect the appearance to be radically different than anything that we have. Again, that's exactly what was observed. They were observing things that were green firewalls. They were observing silver discs that usually had no exhaust, no evident means of propulsion, no engines, no attachments, no wings, nothing that made sense to us, which of course is what you might expect if a more highly advanced civilization were to arrive on Earth and sent probes here. So it seems to me a good fit. There were a few scientists who bucked the trend. They didn't say so publicly. Dr. Herman Ober was one of the fathers of modern rocketry. He was the mentor for Wernher von Braun. He was working in the US rocket program for the US government at the time. He was a bit of an iconoclast and a free thinker. And this was back around the same time as Dr. Fermi was talking in the 50s. He said, "It is my thesis that flying saucers are real, and they're spaceships from another solar system. There's no doubt in my mind that these objects are interplanetary craft of some sort. I and my colleagues are confident they do not originate in our solar system." He was very much a lone voice, but in fairness, I do have to acknowledge there were a few scientists who considered this possibility. It's also interesting that he said colleagues, plural. It wasn't just his view. There were some others in the rocket program, and it's not clear what evidence and information they were privy to. Very interesting to me, however, that he and some of his colleagues shared this view that yes, indeed, there is a good fit between the theory that it's another civilization may be here and what was being observed in that area at the time. Well, let's continue to explore the evidence and bring it up to date more. These three pictures at the bottom are from the videos that I supplied to the New York Times and the Washington Post. You may have seen some of these full videos. This is an F-18 and this is a carrier. And what was happening, what first came to my attention was when these carriers were conducting operations, they were running into these bizarre craft. As I mentioned, I was able to persuade the Senate Intelligence Committee to ask the Defense Department for a report. What are you seeing? Now, the report that they received was very incomplete. This is a picture of the cover of that report. It did not include anomalies in space. It did not include anomalies under the ocean. It didn't include anything before 2004. It didn't include any of the anomalies that the North American Aerospace Defense Command tracks. So every year, the organization that monitors air traffic over the United States and tracks millions of aircraft, they have hundreds and hundreds of unexplained tracks every year. Now, undoubtedly, most of those have simple conventional explanations, but many we just have no idea.